So I gave you guys the opportunity to ask me some questions because I know I did bombard a lot of you guys with questions when you showed up to my house to do this video, the initial one. I know none of it was planned in the sense that you guys hadn't heard those questions and I totally caught you off guard. And I know some of you were super nervous about it, so I decided to put myself in the same position. I would have to say my favorite song to perform live is actually the one I wrote about my eldest daughter, Gwen. I wrote it for her 8th birthday, but she's 10 now. And I played it to her at her birthday party in front of her friends, which was probably a really bad, mom move. And I did make her cry. And it was a very emotional moment, and that song consistently has an emotional pull in a way that I don't feel with my other songs. I mean, I feel emotional about all of my songs, but it's a very particular bond that I have with my daughter, and that song is always it's always a good song to play when I start to get nervous because it kind of grounds me and I start to really focus. And I think that would be it. I was actually in 8th grade the first time I played the guitar. My dad plays, and I've watched him play my entire life. But I also had a music teacher in 8th grade, Mr. Larvins, and we had to learn a John Denver song, and we had to learn how to play it and sing it at the same time. And that's really when it started, because after I learned how to play that song, I went home and badgered my dad, and he let me play his Fender Stratocaster, and that's what I actually wrote my first song on. I've actually been singing since I was a little kid. I joined choir for the first time when I was 6, and I've pretty much just been singing since. So I think that answers both of those, I hope. You know, to be honest, as a musician, there's an ebb and flow to it, and sometimes I'm still not always entirely sure, because it's very difficult. Anybody that thinks that being a musician is easy, especially a working musician, it's not. And I know sometimes we all get a little bit down and out. So I would say for the most part, it really hit me when I was probably about 6 or 7, when I saw Cyndi Lauper on my TV, and I thought she was the coolest fucking person I had ever seen in my life. And I knew I wanted to be like that. And that's just when it really pulled me, and I've just been chasing it ever since, really. The first time I played in front of a group of people was actually my choir class, which was terrifying. And that was about 30 kids. And not too long after my first technical band, Seraphim, we played at Theo's in Rock Island, and we drew in a crowd of about 100 people, which, being 16 at the time, was a lot of people. And that was probably the first real live show I ever did. It was also one of the scariest I've ever done. I think I'm still developing my singing style. I don't think I will ever not continue to grow. I think that's just kind of what you do in any kind of skill that you have. You just get better and better and better. I'm probably the most comfortable now than I've ever been, and it's honestly probably only been the last year or two that I've really kind of discovered a comfortable place that I feel comes from a very natural somewhere inside of me. People that have influenced me as I've progressed it kind of flops all over the place. I know lately in the last like 4 years, Will Whitmore has been a huge influence in a lot of different ways. They Might Be Giants influenced me, especially vocally. I used to sing very nasally, and I'm kind of glad in a way that I grew out of that. But they influenced me for a very long time. I know Cyndi Lauper was huge. Alison Krauss, Ani DeFranco, Billie Holiday was a very large influence. Johnny Cash, I wish I had balls because I would love to hit those low notes myself. I imagine that vibrates in your diaphragm somewhere awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have influenced me as I've gotten older, and the list continues to grow. Maybe I'll compile a full list someday, and then I'll post it somewhere and you can all read it. I can play the trombone. I can play the banjo, kind of. I'm still learning. I've only been playing for about 1.5 years. I can play the mandolin, and I wish I still had one. I can play the melodica, the bass. I can pretend on the cello, because my daughter plays it, and sometimes I like to pretend I can too. I can clap my hands and stomp my feet. Questionable whether I can clap and sing at the same time. We've run into some issues in the recording studio. But I'll save that story for another time. Yeah, I think that about sums it up. I can fake my way through piano. I really don't know how to play it technically. But I can make it do what I need it to do. And I can also play the spoons. That's fun. I think that's it. Is that it?
That would be all.
Oh, that's it.